Good. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome and holiday greetings to everyone. We're almost there. I am very, very happy to see as many of us in one space this morning into the afternoon as possible. We are going to have a very good time here of sharing information from your department chairs, so I am going to be very, very brief here. If you will take a look at your screens, you will see the agenda. Of course, we welcome you, everyone in the Office of Academic Affairs, and Dr. Thomas Brown as well, who has been working very diligently with everyone. So we will have department and program end of semester reports, which we will be compiling to give to Provost DeLauder, so she will know the work that has taken place since October, around October 16. So we will not just have existed, but that we have existed and done a great deal of work in these few weeks. So the order of presentations from the chess department chairs will be as follows. Dr. Tutu with Sociology and Criminal Justice, Education, Dr. Rouser, Mass Communications, Visual and Performing Arts with Dr. Edlin, History, Political Science and Philosophy with Dr. Robinson, Liberal Studies with Dr. Collins, and Languages and Literatures, Dr. Davidson. After the presentations, we will have a recognition presentation, surprise, and we will then share lunch with one another. So thank you for your attention, and now we will hear from Dr. Tutu.
Good morning. I re-echo Acting Dean's holiday message is the season, and so season of good tidings to everybody. Next slide, please. Okay. Excellent. All right, so by way of an outline, my intention is to give a brief background to the responsibilities that were prioritized by the acting dean. I'll be talking about the plan for increased enrollment, all the way to our self-study design. The idea is to give a background to what is currently going on in the department, what we've been doing all this while, and then proceed to what we deem as the agenda going forward. So in terms of plan for increasing enrollment, you can see that there are 5 major things on there. The first is regarding articulation agreement. As we speak, we are trying to finalize a renewal articulation agreement with Deltec Criminal Justice Program. We have a department currently working on one with Polytech. We also have enrollment management activities that we engage with: open house, new student orientation, dual enrollment program, material and flyers distribution. And then we have reviewed our admission criteria. We have a robust collaboration with OSS, and I'm happy to see them represented here. And I think they will talk more about our collaboration when they get the opportunity. I established an ad hoc committee, specifically Media Technology and Outreach Committee, that also is involved with enrollment. So with that, what is our agenda moving forward? What we are proposing include boots on the ground. As you know, enrollment is solely almost in the preserve of enrollment management. What we think is that we need boots on the ground as a department and to be able to canvass Delaware schools and especially schools in the tri-state area. We also want other kinds of enrollment management collaboration. As you know, with open house, you don't have students coming to the departments. I think it's about time we go back to that module where they come back to the department. In terms of programming, even though our MA program just began, 21, we are thinking about looking at the market demand. So for instance, online synchronous instruction for the MA program dependent on the number of applicants we get, especially in the tri-state area, or the number of applicants who may be working. And finally, we're proposing a faculty recruitment coordinator. This is somebody who will be given a stipend also to work. You don't even have to go far. In other colleges, they have assistant chairs and program directors. We don't have that. And with such a big program, I think we need that also to expand. All right. The next is our plan for retention. Thanks to the good job of the faculty, grants came through, and so out of that, we had a special position called retention specialist. The specialist does a lot of activities with our students. Is responsible primarily for development and implementation of strategies to improve retention of the department majors, but also trying as much as possible to have programs such as bringing local government agencies to speak and to share their experiences and employment opportunities and so on. The grant is running out. And so in terms of our agenda, we are hoping that that position will be maintained through university funding. One of the largest departments, but if you look at the number of faculty that we have, and this is, I'm sure, a running theme, we're hoping that there will be increased number of faculty to reduce the full-time faculty mentor student ratio as well. So the other thing I need to mention is that 3 years ago, we adopted a DFW grade reduction strategy. If you are able to reduce the number of students getting, earning DFWs, it's more likely for them to persist and for us to be able to retain them. And so that is what we're continuing. Next is plan for curriculum review. As we speak, curriculum mapping has been completed for all courses and sections, with exception of faculty that are no longer here in the department. And so myself and the curriculum committee chair are taking a look at those courses to complete that. In order to be contemporary, we offer a lot of special topics in sociology and criminal justice. Just as an example, we have a data scientist, somebody with data science background, and so we do that, for marketability of our students. Our syllabi reflect contemporary content, and we have the MA program that I talked about. For agenda, going forward, one of the things we want to take a look at based on the recommendation of the acting dean is a self-study to do a further review. We hope to get more output out of that. 2 years ago, we put in our report as one of our goals, geospatial intelligence minor. And I don't want to belabor the point of why that is important. And so we're going to be pursuing that as well. Please tell me when I have 2 minutes remaining. Okay. Use of assessment data. What have we been doing as a department? We've updated all the assessment measures for the sociology and criminal justice programs. Our annual assessment and reports with action plans are up to date. And so the director of assessment can speak to that in more detail. Going forward, we're hoping that the self-study is going to help us to further analyze the 5C rubrics data that we've been collecting, I believe, for the past last couple of years. To co-curricular pathways, what are we currently doing? We have internship 1 and internship 2, and the processes and the outcomes are clear. We have an internship coordinator in the person of Dr. Parker, who ensures, in addition to the experiential learning opportunities that our students get, we also provide different professional development opportunities for them, especially with internship 2. We have 2 major clubs that are very active. We bring professionals here. The National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, under the tutelage of Professor Boynton, and the Criminal Justice Club under the tutelage of Professor Parker. You might have seen our study abroad opportunities that we provide. Is currently ongoing, is grants driven. And lest I forget, we have, as a department, our research portfolio currently is over 2 million. And so, as you can imagine, that is a tremendous opportunity for our students to be able to engage in that kind of experiential learning. We have several of our students on different programs and different research that they are participating in. Some of them take it as internship, others take it for marketability and other things. And finally, I believe, is budget management issues. Currently and ongoing, we have made sure that we have never overspent our budget because there is little in there. Maybe. But we have never overspent our budget. We always make sure that we follow the financial system of the university, including timely requisitions, purchase order requests, and of course, accounts payable procedures. We hope to continue to do that so that the account is never in red. Let me quickly mention, before I get to the self-study, so I take that back, that was not the last one. Most of the things that we are funding, including a new initiative that I started this academic year, which is Research Scholars Program, is solely funded through the indirect cost of grants. So that tells you, and I will ask your indulgence to thank my faculty when I'm done. But in the meantime, development of self-study. So this is what we are envisioning. This is what I am thinking we are going to be doing. 5 major areas. Why is the BA in Sociology program and BA in Criminal Justice program still in need? Why is this important? What is the number of department, faculty, and professional staff, and how does that match with student needs? We'll be doing analysis of faculty strength. I have said this, and I will repeat it again. We are in R2 university, but if you look at the output of faculty, it's R1 product. And we will show that in our self-study. Analysis of program effectiveness, analysis of program student learning, data, and of course, what does the future hold and how is the future going to look like? So with that, I want to say a big thank you to my faculty and staff. Please thank them for me.
Good morning, colleagues. How are you? I'm Shelley Rouser. I'm the Chair for Education, and I'm excited to share information with you about where we are, where we're going in the Education Department. Slides are loading. I will start by saying that what you will hear from me in the next 5 to 7 minutes is preliminary. This is the idea generation stage for us. We as an education department are going to go through a 3-phase process of idea generation, which started this fall and will continue through the winter. That will then seamlessly move into idea selection, a process that we will do as a department, but also engage with our stakeholders. And then that will move into idea development that we do in the coming months. So it is preliminary, but we feel really good about the ideas that we started. I will also say that it is collaborative. This is the work that is not mine. It is the work that came from the deep engagement of the colleagues that I am proud to work with every day, the Education Department. If you'll please stand and be recognized, along with our Early Childhood Innovation Center. Thank you for your engagement. And the next slide, please. Actually, you can go 2 slides. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. I don't have to. Okay, so here we are. So this gives you some foresight to where we are and where we're going in the coming months. As I mentioned earlier, we engaged in a couple of kind of virtual lunch and learns, one right before the Thanksgiving holiday and one immediately afterwards. And those were idea generations things, time for us. So the entire faculty was involved and invited to be a part of those discussions. In our first meeting, we kind of delved into the technical because that's where a lot of the, hot fires are for us and things that we know we need to work at. But in our second meeting, we were able to very quickly pivot ourselves to thinking ahead, to being visionary and thinking about how do we fundamentally want to look as an education department 5 years from now. So the work that we started in November will continue into a retreat that we have on December 19th. It's our winter day-to-day retreat. And that is where we're going to be grounding ourselves in our vision and mission. I'll give you a glimpse at what our vision is now and the process that we'll be using to refine that vision, considering the opportunity that we have right now for this program review. We will be identifying our external experts, and I won't name those today because they are preliminary. We're going to continue to do some vetting. We will continue to refine our vision and mission. The vision we'll be working on predominantly as an internal group, and then we're going to test that with our external stakeholder group. The mission, we're going to do collaboratively with them. And that process will take us into January and February, where we launch the actual external review, consolidate our findings, and create a strategic plan for our work. These are our vision statements as they existed 5-6 years ago, team, I want to say. We did this work together in 2018 as we were preparing for our last accreditation visit. And these are our vision statements as they exist. One for graduate programs, one for initial programs, both aligned to the same core values, but taking different approaches. Where we're going next, oh, that was our little commercial. Where we're going next is to be determined. But the challenge that we'll be facing, posing to ourselves as a department is to bring our vision together. So spoiler alert, team, that's what we're going to be doing at the retreat. We will be merging our vision from initial programs and graduate programs to who we are as one. And so that vision will be one, and our mission statements will be specific to our graduate and initial programs. When we did our brainstorming, our work fell into 4 buckets. And those 4 areas are programming, research, experiential learning, and retention of faculty and students. So I'll speak to those quickly, and I certainly will not take time to go through all of the ideas. The first one you're looking at is related to programming. One of the biggest things that we're thinking about with programming is the need to really make sure that in Delaware districts, those administrators, those teachers know that DSU is here, that this is the place that you will have the most culturally responsive educators come out of our programs, and that they turn to us more and more to find that kind of educator. And so we are going to make a really concerted effort to make sure that we have a strong presence in Newcastle County, Kent County, and Sussex County. And we're going to do that through approaches of having cohorts and having need-to-need conversations with superintendents, where we are able to really make sure that the programs that we offer are specialized to their areas so that we have a common presence across the state, but that we also have the opportunity to make those programs meet unique needs in those different districts. Those of us who are from Delaware for a long time know that Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex have a very different culture, and we want to make sure that we're present and also aligning to their very unique community needs. You'll see here on the slides that some of our, we basically grouped our ideas from the ideas themselves to the technical requirements we will have to meet to get to those ideas, and some rationale. Like I said earlier, this is very preliminary, so there's some pieces here that we still have to flesh out. But while I'm on this slide, that work of making a presence is particularly a focus of ours when it comes to our graduate programs. That would be the Masters of the Arts in Teaching, which I do want to make sure everybody knows about, and even in this room. The MA degree is a Masters of the Arts in Equitable Curriculum and Instructional Leadership, and our MED and EDD are those Ed Leadership programs. I won't spend time on all of this, so I'll move on to research. But it is important when we talk about our MAT as a chess group to know that there's an opportunity for students who are studying in your respective content areas who are interested in teaching to connect with Dr. Tina Mitchell, where they can take their content in English and then they can graduate and go on to teach. For some people, that light bulb goes off really early. For some people, it goes off a little later. And that's something that we can talk about more and more as a chess group, as another career pathway for your candidates. When they leave and don't quite know what direction they want to go, when they leave and they're really passionate about their content area and they want to keep with it, there's a great way to do that by working with our students to help them in that area. So our next area of focus is around research. Is that what's showing up there? Yes. So when it comes to research, we've been having a lot of conversations or just beginning to bubble up conversations this academic year about taking our independent research interests and beginning to define ourselves. Who are we as an education department? What is our research agenda collectively? So not to take away from the individual aspirations of each of us, our scholarly aspirations, but to say when people look to DSU Education Department for research, what do they know we contribute to the field? And that's something that we're really making an effort at, making sure that we bring together ideas. In Room 109, we built a research tree where we actually had some rich conversations this semester about what we enjoy doing and where the connections are, so that that can then lead to identifying those 3, 4, 5 things that we just become known for. And everybody knows if you're interested in this area, turn to DSU's Education Department for the support. So in order to support those endeavors, there are some things we want to do. And one of them is we talked about an equity center, something that we know is needed in our state, but something that we want to maybe make a real presence for in CHESS and in the education department. And that could be some opportunities for collaboration, bringing your departments in with us. We talked about a symposium that we could host in the future. That's an opportunity to bring the education, humanities, research to the forefront. Sometimes our research in the humanities and education looks a little bit different than it does in certain areas. So that's something that we want to host, as well as an annual specifically education department research day. We also talked about the importance of having some proximity, being closer to each other. Our lab school actually downstairs will be moving, and I want to launch some conversations about what it might look like for us to bring some of our spaces downstairs so that we can just collaborate better by utilizing that space when they slide out to where Grossley Hall got knocked down. I'll go on to experiential learning, our third area of focus. We really want to make sure that we are deeply immersing our students in the richest experiences. We do a good job of that. We want to do a great job of it. So we talked about really exciting things in this area, like studying abroad, Dr. Marsteller. That was your idea. That was fantastic. How can we have study abroad opportunities, faculty and students together, to go around and see those model excellence in education sites and make that a joint exploration between us and our students. We talked about field experiences, revisiting, our field experiences, just revisiting our systems, scaling our year-long residency program, and also really maximizing the fact that we have early college, middle, and high school right here. So those were some of our ideas in that area. And the fourth area of focus is around retention of faculty and students. We talked about how it really takes a concerted effort to make sure that when new people join our respective departments, to make sure they just don't get lost. There's not much of an overall orientation to the university. I don't know if you all experienced it when you came here. You just kind of learn through like blood, sweat, and tears, lots of tears. And and we want to like just stop and pause and think about that a little bit more, and would love to think about that with you if you all are doing, some good work with that in your department. So when it comes to retention of faculty, our faculty come with us, they stay with us, they are committed to DSU. But how do we make sure that experience is a strong one for them and they really come in and get to know the systems? So we talked about creating grow your own partnerships with our districts where they send students to us and we send them back to them as teachers. We talked about a new faculty mentoring program where they are assigned to someone who's just kind of locking arms with them and helping show them the way. We talked about networking events, better tracking of our students to make sure that we're retaining them, and many other ideas that you can see here. So when it comes to our next steps, we'll have continued feedback loops between our larger department, a smaller core group, and those external partners. That's how this work will go from where we are to where we're going. And the core group will engage with those external stakeholders to see our vision through and make sure that what we do in the education department is ultimately aligned with what the field needs us to produce in terms of teachers and administrators. And so that will include some communication planning, some education program planning, and some strategic planning. And then to the right, you will see a timeline of kind of where things are looking for us, ultimately yielding a strategic plan that's inclusive of all those voices and a true vision of what we need to be doing as a department to support the field. There are some things that we'll be doing in the spring as kind of spring goals, as a midpoint kind of thing from where we are and where we're going. And that will include us just looking at things like our entrance requirements, milestones, key assessments, and making sure that we have really locked in our vision and mission statement, and that we also can really have a nice elevator pitch where we are all on the same page in what we say about who we are and why we exist as an education department. And that is my presentation. Thank you.
Should take my mask off. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. I am Charlisa Holloway Edelin. I'm the chair of Mass Communications, Visual and Performing Arts. And if anybody ever hears my Monday morning podcast, we are the house that the creatives built. So, and thank you for all my creatives that are here today. So our department has taken a little bit of a different approach to our strategic plan. In essence, anybody here with a birth date that starts with a 19 as opposed to a 20 knows that the way that we hear our music or gather our art or receive our news is vastly different. So with that, we are taking a little bit more of a fundamental change in our curriculum and some of the foundational things that we do to align with what students need to know now in order to be successful. Okay, so in order to solve any problem or issue, you need to know where we are now. And where we are now, we have a total of 37 faculty members. And I want to make a point that we have 17 adjunct faculty, and they are a crucial and essential part of our department. So one of the key things that we are doing is ensuring that all of our adjunct faculty are well-versed in what it is that we do, because quite frankly, they teach as many, and in some small instances, more students than we do in certain areas. So that is something that we need to make sure that they are aligned with our mission and are included in what it is that we're doing. This tells us a little bit more about our students. And I can't really see, but if you look at the very last column on the right-hand side, that tells you where we are today, where we have 102 majors in music and 204 in mass comm and 76 in art. Why I bring that up is because, and it will go, as we will talk about further, we do a great job, I think, of bringing students to DSU. Students want to come here, music, art, and mass communication. Where we need to work is retaining them. And so that's where we, and again, I think that goes to how music, art, and mass communications deliveries have changed over time. And we are making those changes so that we retain those students and graduate them. So this is where we want to go. And I tried to put our three programs in buckets here. Obviously, with each of them, we want to increase recruitment and we want to increase retention. We've talked about how do we do that. In art, we've talked about more experiential learning experiences, and I'll talk to you about some of the things that we're doing and plan to do. Mass communications, we have good recruitment numbers. We do believe that convergence journalism could be different. And one of the things that we've done there is we've really revamped the entire curriculum. Because again, those of us in this room probably can remember getting a newspaper in front of your door, right? Remember, and some of us, including me, may have even had a paper route. There's no such person now. So, we had to really change convergent journalism to create a major that reflects how news is produced and read today. We need to increase retention overall, and again, creating a program that meets industry standards. In music, we want to increase recruitment and retention, and we too, in music, have updated the curriculum to meet the standards of the students that we're getting today. At DSU, what I love about the HBCU mission, not even just DSU's mission. I'm a product of an HBCU, so I understand HBCUs give students chances who may not have a chance at another college. And I think that's important, and I think we should never forget that. But what that also means is sometimes students come to us very unprepared. And so the issue is not to throw out the baby with the bathwater, but to change the bathwater. So that's what we've done in the music department. And I'm really proud of the work that the music department has done, because it has taken more than a year, but it was important work to do, to change the curriculum and make sure that it matches the skill set of the students that we have. So we now have a curriculum that matches the student that comes to us with little to no experience, but also meets the needs of the student who comes to us, say, from a performing arts school like CAB in Wilmington. So I'm really excited about the new curriculum and how that will roll out in 2024. So here are the things that we do well. Yes, I'm a sandwich person. I got to tell you what we do well, then tell you what we do bad, and then we're going to end up with what we do well. So my students will tell you I do that. Yeah, you started off really good, but your grammar was horrible. But hey, we can fix it. So with successes, we have done a great job of giving art students great opportunities to exhibit their work. We've done a better job, I think, of including our art gallery, which is in the library, and also we had a Met Gala where we gave students the opportunity to showcase their work. So that is a great retention tool to keep students excited about being here at DSU. In mass communications, the big push that we've done, and I think that's been successful, is experiential learning. We've had students that have been guest reporters at the White House. That's Nyla there. We've had students that have, when President Biden came, our students were actually part of the official press gaggle. They were so excited to get an actual press release, press pass rather. So more experiential learning. We had a great conversation last night or yesterday with the Blue Rocks and maybe even doing some work with them. So that's how we're going to keep kids engaged. And last but not least, with the music program, doing more performance opportunities. In fact, we're today, right now, our new strings ensemble with some of our high brass and low brass ensembles are performing a concert for their music major colleagues this morning. For all of our students, the more hands-on they are, the better, the more engaged they are, and they will actually stay with us. Okay. Oop. Can you hit the next slide for me, please? Thank you. So challenges. It goes without saying, our biggest challenge, especially with some of our programs being very small, is recruitment. So across the board, we're going to be boots on the ground, going to schools, doing either live or virtual events and making sure that folks know who we are and what we offer. Particularly with mass communications, we're going to be doing, we're going to be highlighting our convergence journalism, especially in the NSOs, and we're working with articulation agreements with Polytech University, Polytech High School and Deltech Community College, which both have aligned programs. Another issue is retention, which I just talked about. Experiential learning, internships, and updating the curriculum is going to, we think, engage students and get them to stay. And last but not least, just some simple metrics. Our personal, our group goals are going to be to, and I like the SMART moniker: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. Our goals are really recruitment and retention. That's our main goal in our department. The goal is to increase that recruitment and retention by 10%. So not only recruiting 10% more students, but retaining 10% more students, because again, we do a great job, I think, of getting them in the door. We got to keep them here. And that's something that we've got to work on based on the things that I've talked about. And this is going to be time bound. This is a 1-year goal, which is part of a 5-year plan to increase our recruitment and retention by 50% in 5 years. And that is it. Happy holidays. It's so nice to greet all of you today.
I think it's me. Morning, everybody. I'm Nick Robinson, chair of the history department, and I'm gonna, hopefully the slides are gonna follow. So I came up with a presentation that just kind of followed the bullet points that Dean Williams asked us to address. And the first one I'll deal with is recruitment. Yeah. So the department, as many of our departments are, is interdisciplinary. It's political science, history, a minor in philosophy, but we also have law studies, which Professor Marchioni, we will add to the name of the department at some point. While this recruitment piece may seem heavy on the history side, it's because the history program is the lowest number of majors that we have. We have 14 history majors, while our political science and law studies majors are quite strong. They're both over 50. So One of the things that we did over the course of this semester, starting in October, is we had some working groups and also in department meetings. We voted to approve a concentration in African American history, which is something that isn't offered in other area universities. And we thought that would be a kind of a really useful concentration in many ways. One is because we're an HBCU, so it's really quite relevant to our institution. The other thing, because I think somebody mentioned money earlier, yeah, this costs nothing, right? Because we already have the courses, the faculty to create this concentration. I think it's also a concentration that we can use to kind of cross other colleges here at the university, working with perhaps the School of Business, working with other departments, sociology and criminal justice. So I think this would be a unique history concentration. There are obviously concentrations and minors in Africana studies, Black studies, but this concentration in African American history, we really hope to use as one of these recruiting tools, especially in light of what the department did in the aftermath of the passage of House Bill 198. You guys remember House Bill 198 is a pretty big deal for the state of Delaware that mandated the teaching of African American history in K through 12 schools. Our department developed course lesson plans for 8th grade and 11th grade. And we kind of thought our work was done, but it seems like it would make a lot of sense to go back to those the public schools here to kind of, you know, talk more about what these students can do if they were to come to Delaware State and decide to major in history, but also political science and law studies based on that. So one of the things that we also thought that would help us in terms of outreach is that experience with House Bill 198 and the curriculum development. And so, as many of my colleagues have stated, we do need to become much more engaged in outreach in things like new student orientations, open house. But the other thing that we need to do is kind of formalize these articulation agreements. We have many agreements with international universities, but our department, we don't have many articulation agreements that we know of with Del Tech across the street, right? And that seems odd. I had one student who came to us from Del Tech with tons of classes in sociology and criminal justice and wanted to major in political science. Well, that could have been headed off had we had some sort of relationship with Del Tech, so that student would have known that those courses don't necessarily fit the political science major. So you could, I advise them, you can do two things. You can take a bunch of political science courses and change your major, stay as a political science major, or you can change majors to become a sociology and criminal justice major. That could have been headed off had we had this agreement with some sort of agreement with Del Tech, for example. We have the early college high school here on campus, right? How many of us have gone to any of those classes or engaged with early college high school to recruit students to our majors? I for sure haven't, right? So one of the things we also need to do is create a more efficient way to advertise our programs, our courses, right? We're coming up on the spring semester, and as many of my colleagues know, that we have courses with 3-4 students enrolled in those courses. That's not helpful for strengthening our programs. So how do we get that information out there? Oh, and Dr. Bork is going to be our social media guy on that as well, right? Reaching out to students where they are. I can talk to you off record, my view of social media, but Dr. Bork is going to help with that matter. And again, this is just kind of off the cuff. I got an email from actually a conversation with Dr. House yesterday. Why not, in kind of, if we're going to bring high school kids here, have some sort of, I'm not switching slides, sorry. Like some sort of history day, history fest, Cleo, the muse of history. Get in touch with, we worked with Michael Feldman in the Delaware Department of Education. Why not reach out to him and see what we could do to create a day where students come here just to hang out with faculty in our department. inviting students from, again, Delaware Public Schools. The other thing we wanted to do in terms of recruitment and also retention is we offer internships every semester, but we don't really have internships for them, right? We the internships that students engage in, they do it themselves, right? Which is to be commended. Right? But we should be helping them set that up as well, because I know that many of us have people that we graduated with from graduate school, and they ask, where are you working? I'm like, Dover, Delaware. And they're so jealous because they're stuck in the middle of the country, and they don't have access to Washington, D.C., to Philadelphia, to New York. I mean, we're an hour and a half away from, I mean, for a political science student to do an internship in D.C., like, that's an amazing opportunity that we don't take advantage of. So to develop those things is something that we're really looking to do. Nope, I'm still not looking at the slide. I'm sorry. So that's internships. The next thing for retention and also, again, recruitment is working more closely with advising. Right, there is the Advising Center does amazing work, and they're but overworked. So what they've reached out to us to do is to do things like help them with creating or assigning faculty mentors to our majors, because then by the time they get to their junior, senior year, they're going to know not just what courses they need to take, but what are the potential sort of career tracks they can take. So again, this is something that we're talking actively in our department about doing, working more closely with advising, because if we do that, then we can also talk to them about career and postgraduate pathways. Again, I'm an historian, so most students who major in history think that they're going to be a social studies teacher in high school or a librarian, right? There's so many more things that they can do with a degree from our department, right? The political science major thinks that they're going to work for a think tank, right? There are multiple things that they can do, and we need to really discuss that with our majors. Another thing we want to do is expand the department's visibility, programming on campus, both faculty-led programming and also student-led programming, right? Many of our student organizations kind of create these programs, and why not do that with our majors, encourage our majors, political science, history, law studies majors, to kind of develop a series of programs. The DACA student organization on campus is really good at doing that. Dr. Bork and myself are the faculty advisors for the DACA student organization, and they consistently create things on their own with our help, right? And I think we should do that as well with our majors. In terms of curriculum review, we have created working groups to revise our curriculum, starting with the catalog. I don't know about other department catalogs, but our catalog has courses listed from, I started here in 2007, and there are courses in that catalog that have never been taught since I've been here. So we either get rid of them, streamline it. The other thing that we should do is also not necessarily give new names to courses, but perhaps we put a colon next to seminar in American history, the Atlantic world. I don't know. There are lots of things we can do, because the students absolutely judge the course by the name, right? They do judge the course, judge the book by the cover, right? We don't. We know what we're going to teach when we do. You want me to take time out? Oh, okay. Oh, hurry up. Okay. And so at the open house, Dr. Blade said she would be keen in doing like a history of sport and culture. Student faculty engagement, we had an event at the beginning of November. We have another event beginning in January when the students come back. We'll play Jeopardy or something like that. But that's another thing that our department hasn't done. We haven't had a great deal of student faculty engagement outside of the classrooms. And then I will wrap it up really quickly. We do have, again, this external review coming in spring. We have some recommendations for reviewers, and our self-study program review committee is comprised of myself, Dr. Bork, Dr. Silver, Dr. House, Dr. Bangura. We already have a review that was completed, a self-study completed in 2023, beginning of this year. So we have a template to work from, and I think I have to be finished. And I didn't change slides. Sorry. Is there's Jeopardy, and there's external review. All right, thanks.
Classes or appointments, etc. So if you feel free to pass through space, but I do want as many as possible give respect to our last two chairs that are. Let's engage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Feeling a little under the weather today, so please excuse me if I'm not perky, but we'll do our best. Waiting to get the slide. So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Phyllis Brooks Collins, and I'm the program director for the Liberal and Integrated Studies program. Okay. All right. So for those of you who don't know the program or know anything about the program, is the clicker working? I don't think it's going to work with the clicker. Okay. So for those of you who don't know anything about the program, this is a little blurb about what we do and who we are. Again, we are the Liberal Studies program. We started off several years ago with the Integrated Studies program back in 2012, but we have changed and evolved, and we now offer a BA degree and AA degree for the major. It's open to all students, traditional, those who are in the first year, transfers, returning, and non-traditional students, and what we call near completers, students who have more than 90 credits. When our colleagues was up earlier, I was kind of chuckling. For those of you who don't know me, I used to be the retention officer. And when I was doing my presentation, I didn't put anything in the presentation about retention. And I saw all my colleagues doing that. I said, okay, I really am sick today. So anyway, I love our little banner here because I really believe in interdisciplinary studies and working with disciplines. Disciplines are the foundation for what we do, but our program is where visionaries thrive, people who are looking out and beyond, and the boundaries between the disciplines fade, meaning that you can cross over and work with other folks in other disciplines and work together. So our curriculum is very, very flexible, and it's accommodating to students. And really, truly, if you look at it, it serves as itself as a retention program, because many of those students that come to us come from other disciplines, and if we weren't existing, they might leave the institution, they might stop out. So really and truly, the whole program itself is a retention and graduation program. Next slide. So our team, we're small but mighty. I wanted to make sure I let you see who we're working with. Of course, Dr. Emily Williams is currently our dean, and I am the program director of the program. And we recently hired 2 new staff members who are here. You guys want to wave your hands so they can see you? And that's Dr. Teron Potter, and he's our academic program manager, and Miss Janice Jordan, she's our program specialist. So I'm really happy to have them on board. Next slide. So in this past semester, we've had some real wins. For a long time, I sat over in the H building in a single faculty office and met with students and taught my classes and really enjoyed what I was doing. But I knew if the program continued to grow, we were going to have to do some we were going to have to get some funding and do some things differently. We did receive a Title III grant about 4 years ago. We're in our 4th year of our Title III grant, which allowed us to hire some professional staff. Like I said, we introduced them already. But the big thing is we were able to secure some space over in Delaware Hall. And I'm so excited about that because we're able to spread out. We can invite our students over to come and visit with us and just really enjoy the space. So we also had a virtual program meeting this fall for our students on October 17th. And we showcased our new digs at the open house that we had on November 7th. And another milestone is that we're now the department that offers the prior learning assessment portfolio course for those students who are returning adults who want to show how they can speak to their learning in their careers. Next slide. So these are some metrics for this semester. I just wanted to kind of give you a picture of the number of majors that we have. Right now, we're currently standing at 251 students. 15 are new freshmen as of this fall. We also have continuing students that are still freshmen. They might have came in fall 2022, but they might not have achieved 30 credits to be sophomores. And we have transfers that came who had less than 30 credits, and they're considered freshmen. So we have 71 of those students. Some of those students are also coming from your academic departments. They came in the fall or last year, they got into their programs and like, no, I don't want to do this. So the advisors have done a really great job of referring those students to us and the chairs of departments. So that's why I think that number is pretty large. There are 43 of those 71 students looking for a AA degree, and those students probably consist of our students that are in Jamaica. Those are some of those students who are dually enrolled. And we also have 28 students that are looking to earn a Bachelor's of Arts degree. That leaves 165 upperclassmen, juniors, seniors, and sophomores, and many of them come from your academic departments and will probably have concentrations with you. So we're partners with the departments. We work with you and the students. 33 of those students were new transfers. We have 19 that are going to be graduating tentatively in December, and we have a potential for 30 to graduate in the spring. So the direction of our program, we are looking to do the Title III grant. Is it moving or it's not moving? Okay. Yep, thank you. We are, out of our Title III grant, we're tasked with implementing a leadership concentration by the spring of 2025. That is one of our objectives. And we want to use that as a feeder for our leadership graduate program. We're in the process of looking for a lecturer to teach and develop our leadership courses. And that is actually also being posted right now. So if you know of anyone who would be interested, let us know. We also are looking at increasing our first-year full-time students who enroll and graduate in the program. So right now, our students come and they do a lot of exploring. They are trying to figure out what they want to do and get career closure. So liberal studies really helps them to look at what they want to do. And many of them transfer out, which is fine. We want them to find a home wherever they find a home. We're looking to increase our dual enrollment partner with high schools. The early college school has reached out to us and is looking to have more of their students take courses with us towards AA degree. And we are looking to launch our Master's in Leadership. Hopefully it'll get approved by the Board of Directors in December in the fall of 2024. We are looking also to provide some academic programs with leadership tracks for their programs. I had some of the health people come to us and say, hey, once you launch the Masters in Leadership, would you do some health leadership courses? So we're looking to partner with you if you're interested in having some leadership courses developed for your particular discipline. We also would love to reactivate the Integrated Studies program for honors students who are interested in interdisciplinary research in graduate school. We graduated over 300 students in that program, and many of them come back and say, thank you for teaching me the interdisciplinary research process, because when I got to graduate school, that's what they used. So I really hope that that's something that we can do. And finally, we want to do a summer experiential learning opportunity in Washington, D.C. Dr. Potter has been working with some folks over in DC to maybe take students this summer to look at democracy and how it works. Next slide. I'm not going to go through all of this. This is just some of the topics that we might be covering in our undergraduate minor courses and some of the core topics. Next slide. Planning for future growth. One of the things that I was really excited about when I hired Dr. Potter, he seems to be a very good person with technology, and he developed some slides on increasing social media presence. And I really agree with that, because I think that social media is really the way to attract this generation of students. So we are working very hard to make a presence in social media, and that's our way of bringing more students into the program. Next slide. We want to feature our student and faculty achievement, also feature the DSU campus, the social life of the students in our program. We want to have social media ambassadors, and we have a hashtag Liberal Studies DSU. Another way to reach our students is through live streaming sessions, YouTube, TikTok. I really don't want to become a TikTok grandma, but I might, just in order to get more students, because that's where they live. I mean, every time I talk to my grandson, he wants to show me something on TikTok, right? So that's where they live. So we want to continue to reach our students where they are. Next slide. So smart growth, we looked at a model according to EAB, and smart growth is the targeting of expanding existing academic programs through the analysis of capacity, cost, and student demand. And this is one of the models that we're going to try to use to continue to grow our program. Looking at the demographics of our college students and looking at the changing technology, we need to use that as a way to get our students to look at our program portfolio, to examine our program portfolio. So this is how we are going to do that. Number one, we're going to review our own portfolio regularly. Why? Because our demographics will continue to change and technology is more important. We got to know which fields are out there, and just like Nicholas said earlier, students read your course description and say, I don't want to take that course because it's not interesting. I remember when I came here many, many years ago, as he said, some of those courses are still in our course catalog and nobody is teaching them. We really do have to innovate and do something different in order to attract our students. So we have to discover more growth opportunities within our existing programs, to look at trends and be able to analyze student credit hours and the rate for program and compare those to other departments, which I love Power BI because that gives us an opportunity to look at what you guys are doing in your departments and how it actually benchmarks against ours. Next slide. Again, peer benchmarks will help us to test assumptions. So if we were to launch a new master's or doctorate program, we can look at our peer institutions and we can look where we can recruit and what resources related barriers exist when we develop new programs. And finally, number four, we need to use diverse data marketing points. By doing this, we will develop a broad yet nuanced understanding of our regional and national market. I think for the Masters in Leadership, we really understood that that's a program that is going to grow our graduate programs here, because we looked at the data and the data showed us that that's a demand. There's a demand for leadership. Next slide. Okay, so this is our social media information, and thank you very much.
Thank you for sticking to the bitter end. I'll just let you know, this is what Brody looks like since last Thursday and will look like this until December 22nd. After that time, he will look like his regular self. Representing the no PowerPoint, by the way. Representing the Department of Languages and Literatures as the one department on campus through which all incoming first-year students must pass at least 5 times, we continue to be challenged with the blessing of a growing student body, which in turn requires, of course, a growing instructional staff. So we are actually also the biggest. And as the department in which students begin their understanding of critical thinking and collegiate level academic writing, we have also faced the challenges dealing with student use of AI, ChatGPT, as they maneuver work completion and time management. Facing these challenges, our faculty have initiated new pedagogical strategies for both addressing AI use and stemming the tide of relying on technology instead of individual creativity. I know I'm the last person to stand between you and lunch, so I'm going to go through this quickly. After much hard work and innovation in our composition program, we shall transition back to a more traditional 2-semester, 16-week composition program, which will allow students easier ability to transfer courses and a less hectic pace of learning and reduce the number of instructional staff needed. We are the Department of Languages and Literatures, and we understand that you can never understand one language unless you understand at least 2. And we have a new program which was implemented providing a certificate of multiliteracy, thus reshaping the way we credential foreign languages. This program results in a DSU certificate enabling students to receive the nationally recognized Global Seal of Biliteracy. And hopefully this will lead to more study abroad opportunities and interest. We also have a new Chinese Language and Cultural Research Center which opened, which serves as a source of cultural enrichment, multilingual advocacy, and offers resources such as teaching staff, world language programs, and curricula design for local school districts with Chinese immersion programs. The department will also serve as a host site for College Board AP Summer Institute, Advanced Placement Summer Institute this summer 24. And we shall be the only AP host site in the state of Delaware and only one of 4 HBCUs that serve as a host site for College Board. We will offer training in AP English Literature, AP Composition, AP Chinese, AP Spanish, AP Psychology, don't tell the psychology department, AP Seminar, Research, and the infamous African American Studies that everyone has been hearing about in the news. The State Department of Education is very excited about this opportunity, allowing Delaware high school teachers the ability to stay in state for professional development on College Board activities, as well as recruit from the surrounding states for high school teachers. The Women's and Gender Studies minor, which is housed in Chess and more specifically in Languages and Literatures, affiliated faculty are currently working on Delaware Humanities Grants programs for Women's Studies Month. And if you don't know, that means March. That will highlight challenges of women of color and especially young Black women faced with the standards of beauty and the effects on our health. In addition, the affiliated faculty are working on an NEH grant in hopes of moving the minor to a certificate program, which will attract adult learners, especially in the fields of DEI. The second half of our department, literature, we know that literature adds to reality. It does not simply describe it. It enriches the necessary competencies that daily life requires and provides. And in this respect, it irrigates the deserts that our lives have already become. That's a quote from C.S. Lewis. So in that area, the department is working on a concentration in African American and African literature, just as history is looking to do, because we do recognize that our students are here for an HBCU experience. And finally, literature faculty are envisioning and creating co-curricular programs that highlight the importance of literature as a foundation for human experiences, critical thinking, and creativity. Some possible ventures that have been tossed around include an online student journal, a book club, and a text-to-film series. These programs would allow the faculty to meet the students where they are and to help them further explore the world of which they are a part. And this also includes a look to innovate our classes with areas in which draw the students in, such as Afrofuturism and the graphic novel. So when Brody comes back, he will tell you all about our strategic planning, and we look forward to hearing more from him. Thank you.
Director, but overall, I think everybody needs to give themselves a big hand because this was collective work. And what's so exciting about this is that we got to hear what goes on under the umbrella. Sometimes we're working so solo that we don't really see the fullness of our work. So I really applaud all of you coming together and working so seamlessly in such a quick time. But we're going to have some more fun as January kicks in. But before we go into our presentation, just a few words from Dr. Thomas Brown, and then I'll say, I promise, a few words, and then I'll be quiet.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. And good afternoon. Thank you all for being here, and we appreciate seeing all of your beautiful and smiling faces. And so I'd just like to take an opportunity to acknowledge anyone who may be retiring at the end of this year, at the end of 2023. If you will please stand. Do we have anyone in the room? Marty. Okay. Marty, can you come up front for a photo, please? Can you also tell us how many years you have been with us at this illustrious university?
I have been here at this illustrious university for 33 years.
Anything else you want to tell us?
No.
Okay. Well, we'd like to appreciate, honor, and thank Mr. Marty Denson for all of his years of service here at Delaware State University, for serving our students, our faculty, our staff, for being one of our best heralds, I will say. Thank you so much. And I know there are many wonderful heralds, not to take away from anyone else, but we do appreciate you and we thank you for your years of service with us.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Williams, we'll take a picture of Dr. Brown.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, all right, lunch looms. So at this time, I would like to ask Dr. Osei to come forward, please. Okay, folks, today we hereby honor Dr. Okwase Osei in recognition of your leadership with the College of Humanities, Education, and Social Sciences as interim dean on this day, December 7, 2023. In great appreciation, Dr. Osei. Those of us that can stand, let's stand, please.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. This warms my heart. I just have two things to say. One is that we keep our eye on the prize and implement the program, the wonderful programs and plans that we heard in this last hour. And the second thing I want to say is clearly the building blocks have been in place for a while, and I'm just happy that we have that foundation on which to build an even better chess. So thank you for the recognition, and I'll see you around.
Okay, folks, please enjoy lunch. And this, I believe, was recorded, so we will post it if anyone wants to go over any pieces later. And we want to thank our IT tech here, so thank you very much.